Hello and welcome. I'm Darren, and today we are back in Cyberpunk 2077, and we are going to take a look at how we're going to play the game, how we're going to make it look good, how I'm going to play the game. A little bit less, whatever it was yesterday. Spend a little bit more time trying to have a quick look at the resolution that I'm playing at. So here we are. We are down in some random area that I just drove down to, and we will in 2 seconds take a look at the settings. Now, I just recorded a video, but I ended up stopping it because it got quite messy and it went on way too long. And I need to ask someone else about this because it's not something that I was aware of, and it's quite confusing. So I'm going to ask for some advice. I might ask Terra if he is able to have a look into it, because I know he has this game and I know he has this GPU, but I'm convinced on this GPU now, after looking at this game, what the hell's going on there? It's weird, isn't it? It's like a huge huge ball of cotton wool. That's all like really blown out. Yes, I've been going through a lot of changes in the video that I just did, and I'm convinced that I get a huge loss. No, sorry, that's wrong. Not a huge loss, but I get a loss in visual quality on this setup when I enable RT. And whilst I'm used to having a huge performance loss, it normally comes at a visual gain, whereas on this game, on this GPU, I feel like I get a performance loss and a visual loss, which is surprising to me and doesn't make sense. So I didn't think that's how it worked. Now, I know that this game uses, a different type of RT implication, as this is set up to run on the NVIDIA GPUs, and the NVIDIA GPUs do have dedicated hardware, ray tracing cores, so they have dedicated ray tracing components. But all I thought that would do was to help how fast they would process the RT application. So effectively they didn't take the performance hit. I didn't actually think it would process the RT implication in a way that it would change something visually. So I'm going to ask a second opinion on that, but regardless of that, this is at the moment, now I'm running this game at, let's have a look. I'm using Intel's XeSS at quality because that I find looks a bit nicer than FSR in this game. And those are the two options we have available. Now I'm going to drop some settings down because what we are doing is we are running at 5160x2160. So we're forfeiting ray tracing because I don't think it works very well on this GPU in this game. And we are going to go to, and by the way, that's perfectly fine. We don't have to copy in the video. So what have we got here? Local shadows quality. Maybe that's, some of these settings we need to adjust, and some of them. Let's bring that down to there, see if that helps. What's this? Ambient occlusion. Maybe not. Okay. So, where are we at now? This is a clean looking image. I think it might have lost some shadow detail. See, what I want to do is kind of hit the magic 60, and at the magic 60, AFMF lovers are ready to go, right? That's just weird. So, let me see, what did I just change that made that big an impact? So if I take you back to high, what happens then? You get a huge performance gain. What did I change that made that much difference? Something I changed made like an almost 20 FPS difference. Oh god. How quality? Is it that? Nope. We just suddenly in a less demanding area. Let's get back down there the long way. Okay, so it does drop down a bit here. But I think we're probably good to go at this, because we want to be just above 60. So, I'd probably say at this point we're good to go, because I could play this at 60 FPS. And I have played this at 60 FPS because I've played it at those settings on the NVIDIA GPU, trying to obviously get ray tracing and path tracing and all that sort of stuff. So this is not a problem for me. And with a good HDR, this looks very good. Shit, I'm gonna get run over. Like the lighting on this, it might show up a bit in my recording, but the lighting on this is actually very good. Like the reflections you get off this lighting is actually very good with some good HDR. So I would put resolution and HDR at the top of the list. Anything after that is an added bonus. If you don't have room for the added... God, that's quite bad, isn't it? She thought I was going to shoot her in the head then, didn't she? It was pretty obvious I didn't, isn't it? Yeah, anything after that... That's right, it's clear now. Anything after that is an added bonus. If you don't have the room after that, I don't personally think you should go searching to try and make the room. I don't. That's not in my thoughts whatsoever. Absolutely not. I wouldn't want to give up the image quality I have here right now to drop it so low that I can somehow add something else in that's supposed to give me better visual quality, but I've lost a load of visual quality to get there. That doesn't make sense. Because the thing about this game is, as soon as you start to lose visual quality, you'll notice that the cars lose all their details. So suddenly you've got blobs driving past you, and it's not particularly nice. And with these settings, all of this is staying actually really nice looking. There's not particularly amount of ghosting, a tiny bit. Like, I'm nitpicking. Nothing that bothers me. The character details from distance are holding up perfectly fine. Those trees, the details are holding up perfectly fine. Those trees at this distance are holding up perfectly fine. Something's not happy in that window, but that's fine. Sometimes that's just to do with the actual game itself. Doesn't matter what settings or what you're on about. Games are never perfect. The people that think native is perfect are wrong. There is always some sort of rendering issue in any video game. There is no 100% pure and perfect. It doesn't happen. This isn't bad. Like, yeah, you get a little bit of... I think you're always going to get that with grates at that distance. All of this looks very clean. So, this is how I'm playing this game. So we're using virtual super resolution, and we have the game set to 5160 by 2160. We are using the HDR, and we have the graphics at quality with XeSS super sampling, and we have all of this stuff's turned off. And we have basically just the volumetric fog turned down to high. And then we have screen space reflections quality turned down to high. And that is it. No ray tracing. Who cares, right? We don't give a fuck. We don't have to copy what the NVIDIA GPU does. It doesn't make sense. There is no point nerfing the visuals that we have on this to somehow try and chase a fucking golden unicorn. Like in HDR, that looks really good. Like the way that this light's bouncing off the top of these trees, that looks really good. You shouldn't make your image look like it's at 720p or less than that, just to try and add in some RT, because from what I'm concerned, all you're doing is making a very good, powerful, expensive GPU look like a really cheap, nasty piece of junk, and it is not a cheap, nasty... Oh shit, I shouldn't have done that. Chill out, fat boy, but I'm well impressed with how you just skywalked. So, all these character models look good. They're not kind of going super blurry on motion. Although some of the character models in this... everything's getting aged in this game, isn't it? It does kind of come to life at night. I can understand why people love the path tracing and the ray tracing and the HDR, because at night when everything's glowing and it all mixes together, then it does bring an old game to life. It does. But at the same time, without the ray tracing and a nice clean image like this, where you pick up all the details that should be shown, and you've still got some nice reflections and, you know, kind of sun reflections, the brightness of HDR. This looks really good. Like, you know, the glow off that windshield. That probably won't show up in the recording, which is a shame. Like the way the sun's reflecting down this car. Again, it won't show up as bright or as good as what it looks to me across the recording and by the time it makes it to YouTube. But those are all things that look good, and those to me should go ahead of ray tracing. So yeah, this is how I'm playing this game on this GPU. I think it looks good, the performance is fine, we're above 60 FPS. Why did my cursor just disappear? That's weird. Huh. Come back, cursor. Come back. Why are you doing that? Yeah, this looks good. I love HDR in this game now. I'm watching it on a OLED monitor. See, now I'd probably be torn now watching this as to whether I'd want to do this with the NVIDIA GPU. Do I want to play, because on the NVIDIA GPU, and this isn't a versus, on the NVIDIA GPU I can play at 1440p with the HDR and with path tracing. But I'm going to have a look on that system now and see if that's something I want to do, or if I forfeit the ray tracing in a bid to go to the same resolution as this. I mean, I can play 4K non-ultra wide on the NVIDIA GPU with heavy ray tracing. With path tracing, I am going down to balanced. I might even have to go. No, I think with if I want to use path tracing on the 4080 at 4K, I'm definitely at balanced. To do it comfortably, I'm at performance. So it's not like it's a walk in the park. It's still a struggle, but DLSS in this game holds up very well. XeSS in this game looks very good. So, you know, I don't know what will happen if they manage to get a better implementation of FSR in this game. This game does suffer really badly because of all the movement and all of the car lights, which are obviously quite glowy. It does suffer quite badly with ghosting in this game with a lot of things. So I don't know if FSR 3.1 is going to suffer quite badly with ghosting if it was in this game. Seeing how it seemed to suffer with ghosting in the various games that it's in at the moment, it might not be the best solution for this game. But I don't know. I'd have to see it. But obviously, like I said, we've got XeSS here, and XeSS looks good, so that's perfectly fine. So yeah, we're nearly 20 minutes in. I don't think there's much point me dragging this out any longer. This is the 7900 XTX running in Cyberpunk. I've shown you the settings. We are at 5160 by 2160 on the Alienware ultra wide, and I think definitely in HDR on an OLED monitor, this looks very good, very, very good for this game. The fact that car I'm gonna have to look back on the recording to see that again. I swear that car, the whole body shell didn't render and it was just a floor pan with some people sat in the steering wheel, which was interesting. It turned into a Flintstone car. But that's nothing to do with, that's the game. That was quite interesting. Let's jaywalk. Go! To the forest. In fact, let's go down into the forest quickly. See how it looks in the forest. Those trees rendering's a bit odd. And they're still not rendering, which is odd. And they've rendered. I've not noticed that. Oh, I don't know. Problem is, you come to areas at different times of the day, so sometimes you might not even notice that. It's a bit strange. It's very strange. Because now I'm noticing it so much in here. All of this. Huh. It's taking so long to render. Look at that. Really? Is it normally like this? I'm not sure it is. Huh. It's like that behind me now. Why have I never noticed this before? That is strange. That is very strange. Okay. Well, the actual, once it's rendered in, details are lovely. This all looks very good. But that, it's a shame really, because these trees look so good. Detail-wise, you can literally see every individual leaf. And then you've got that. Shame. Shouldn't be doing that. They should give you a higher... I don't know. My VRAM... My memory usage still seems quite low to be at this resolution. Which does make me wonder. I might have to try this on DSR. I would have thought of... I wonder why that's doing that. That just because of the way the light's coming through. It's because it's got something going on behind it, isn't it? I would have thought of this resolution I'd be drawing more VRAM than this. It's pulling 13, but it's only using 8. 8 is very low. I'll have to look a little bit further into that. Because it's a shame, because this all looks really good. For a game that I'd say looks quite aging, this foliage is actually very nice. Compared to some of the UE5 games I've been playing lately. This actually looks nicer. But anyway, I'm going to leave it there. We're over 20 minutes, which is kind of where I didn't want to be. This is still the way that I'm going to play it at these settings. Yeah, and hopefully that might have been of some use to anyone. Let me know. I'd like to hear from 7900 XTX owners. How do you play Cyberpunk? Especially if you're using a 34-inch ultra-wide. Are you playing at native and trying to get ray tracing? Or are you bumping up using the virtual super resolution and chasing that extra fidelity? Let me know in the comments. God, that looks good. That is blindingly blinding, but it actually looks extremely realistic. If I was staring at the sun, staring at trees, that would be the lighting I'd expect to see. But yeah, hit me up in the comments, let me know. How do you use your XTX in Cyberpunk? And I'll catch you in the next one.